Hey, so I wanted to talk to you real quick about what healing is, because if we're dealing with back pain, then most likely we need to heal from something. It could be emotional, it could be physical, it could be mental, and healing is becoming whole again. It's reconnecting with who you are at the core of yourself, being true to thyself, right? So, what is true to yourself? If you are people pleasing, you're not being true to yourself, and that can build up stored up emotions that you're not releasing. So for example, if you're saying yes to somebody else and no to yourself, and you continue to do that, those emotions stored up can actually lead to pain in the body. And the body is an amazing thing. It will allow you to recognize where there is an issue. Now, we can deny that pain by masking it with medication or even massage or chiropractors and stuff like that, or it can address the root cause of the issue. Now, in that instance, it's emotional. In my experience, a lot of things are emotional and physical because we are connected through the movements, and our emotions create the movements. And there's a saying that the issues are in the tissues. So when you have emotional issues or trauma, it actually gets stored in the nervous system. And when we do movement, we release that energy that's stored in the nervous system. And so that's why movement can actually release emotional issues. And that's why, when I work with people, I'll do movements and they'll actually start crying and they don't understand why, because they're releasing trauma, they're releasing the issues in the tissues. And the more you can do that, the closer you are to feeling and being whole. So, how do we do that? Well, we want to do the proper movements. Right now, people are moving incorrectly, mainly out of laziness or they don't know what to do. But for example, people aren't squatting down to pick things up. As we age, we tend to take shortcuts. And when we take shortcuts, we compensate. When we compensate, we put stressors on certain areas. For example, if you lean over rather than squatting down to pick something up, you're putting more stress on your back and the discs. Your discs only have so many spinal flexions, meaning when you lean over to pick it up, your discs only have so many. Now, if you've been toxic for a long time, if you have been unhealthy, if you have been inflamed, then you have way less spinal flexions and you're going to wear down the discs faster if you don't have hydration, etc. So a lot of things play into this. But as we study the body, we start to understand more about what brings us closer to the wholeness of self. And when we do self-love, meaning we're taking care of ourselves, so we're not going to say yes to somebody and say no to ourselves. When we're doing movements daily because we love ourselves and we know that if we do movements, we're going to oil the joints, we're going to get the blood flowing, we're going to get our immune system optimized. When we eat healthy, when we put hydration, good water, good food in our body, we are helping the cells, we're oxygenating the body, and we're going to feel a lot better. So you're all of a sudden going to see that your body's going to feel better, your pain's going to dissipate. People who are working 13 hours a day at a desk to do something that they don't really love, what is that going to do to your body? It's going to cause unconscious anger and frustration and tension. And where is that tension going to end up? It's going to end up in the places that have the most stress to begin with. And your lower back, all points go to your lower back, especially if you're sitting all day. It's an area that is open to stressors. And if you're not moving it, if you're not activating it, if you're not giving what it needs, then you will end up in pain. So I want to bring it back. What are the things that you need to be doing to get yourself out of pain? So there's going to be recognizing the emotions that come up, physical movement, nutrition, and those three components will take care of almost everything. Then we want to remove the things that are causing the pain, right? So we remove the things that are causing the pain, then we put in place the things that can actually spark the healing process, because you can't heal in the same environment that made you sick. Right? For example, if you get mold poisoning, can you heal if you're living in mold? No, you can't. So if you have back pain and you're doing the same things that created the back pain, will you get better if you start to do other things? You might make progress if you start to do movement and you hadn't done movement. But eventually, if you don't break those patterns that created it, you probably fall back into that pattern. So, we've given you the tools that you need through movement. Back Pain Relief for Life is biomechanically the best program, and obviously I'm biased, but you can see the thousands of testimonials we have. So that's the movement component. Now, in our programs, we also talk about the emotional side. Like, have you addressed the emotional issues? Do you have resentments that you've never addressed? Do you have anger issues towards your parents, towards your loved ones? Have you addressed them before? Do you even know you have them? Most of the time, people think, oh, no, I don't have any resentment. When you get down deep into it, there's a massive amount of resentment that is laying there that has been medicated. And when it comes to the surface, and you don't have the tools to address them, things can get worse. So this is where people start to medicate themselves. They have more pain. They don't know how to deal with the pain. So those are the things. Nutrition is fairly simple. We all pretty much innately know. In my book, I talk about intuitive eating. You know what you need to be eating for the most part, right? If it comes from the earth, if it hasn't been poisoned, it's probably good for you, although there are people that react to certain things. So what is good food? Food is stuff that comes from trees. The freshest, the better. Trees, the earth, lean meats, fruits, vegetables. You know, every now and then we can indulge in the other stuff, but if it's put in a package, if it's in a can or plastics, it's probably not good for you unless it's fermented, and that's what we've done for generations to preserve food, and it actually has healthy, powerful, anti-inflammatory, and good microbes that help the body. So fermented foods done properly is really healthy. So those are the things. That's it in a nutshell. It's going to come down to your emotions, your movements, and food. Those three things will pretty much take care of the rest. If you have trauma, if you had a severe physical trauma, then there might be other components to it. So to get the movement down, Back Pain Relief for Life is ideal. We also talk about the nutritional and emotional components. But I thought I'd just do this video so that people can find this helpful. What is healing? How do I heal? And what are the steps that are necessary that I need to take? If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave it below. I'd love to help you out.